The location of this story is a small, forgotten house on the outskirts of town. It was supposed to be a joke. That's what we kept telling ourselves, anyway. Just a stupid, harmless joke to kill the boredom of another long summer night. There were 4 of us. Me, Liam, Chloe, and Ben. We were crammed into the dusty attic of my grandmother's old house, a place filled with forgotten memories and the scent of decaying wood and mothballs. The air was thick and heavy, sticking to our skin like a shroud. The only light came from a circle of flickering candles we'd placed on the floor, their flames dancing like tiny, nervous spirits. In the center of the candles sat the reason we were there, a cheap, cardboard Ouija board we'd bought at a thrift store for $5. Liam was the one who suggested it. He always was the ringleader of our stupid ideas, the one with a reckless grin and an appetite for anything that promised a thrill. "Come on," he'd said, holding up the box like a trophy. "It'll be fun. What's the worst that could happen?" We all laughed, caught up in his infectious confidence. Chloe, ever the skeptic, rolled her eyes but went along with it. Ben, quiet and anxious as always, just nodded, his eyes wide in the growing dark. And me. I was the narrator, the observer, the one who always felt like I was watching my life from a distance. I was scared, but the fear of being left out was even greater. So there we were, kneeling on the creaky floorboards, our fingers resting lightly on the plastic planchette. The room was silent except for the whisper of the wind outside and the frantic beating of my own heart. "Is anyone there?" Liam asked, his voice a theatrical whisper that echoed in the stillness. We waited. The planchette didn't move. He asked again, a little louder this time, a hint of frustration in his tone. "Hello. We want to talk to a spirit. Any spirit." "Nothing." Chloe snickered. "Told you it was fake." Just as she said it, a cold draft snaked through the attic, extinguishing 2 of the candles and making the remaining flames dance wildly. A shiver ran down my spine that had nothing to do with the cold. We all looked at each other, our nervous smiles gone. The planchette twitched beneath our fingertips. It was a tiny, almost imperceptible movement, but we all felt it. It started to move, slowly at first, dragging across the board with a faint scratching sound. It was clumsy, hesitant, as if the entity controlling it was just learning how to communicate. It spelled out a single letter. A. We all held our breath. Then it moved again. L, then A. Then X Alex. A wave of confusion washed over us. We didn't know an Alex. Liam, trying to regain his composure, asked, "Alex, are you a good spirit?" The planchette shot across the board to NO. My stomach clenched. The air grew colder, heavier. The remaining candles flickered so violently I was afraid they'd go out and leave us in total darkness. "What do you want?" Chloe asked, her voice trembling. The planchette began to move again, but this time it was different. It moved with a purpose, a terrifying speed and certainty that wasn't there before. It didn't spell words. It went straight for the numbers, landing on 1. 5. 15. What did that mean? Then it moved back to the letters, spelling out a name. So Chloe gasped and tried to pull her fingers away, but it was like the planchette was glued to her skin. "What does it want with me?" she whispered. "What does it want with me?" she whispered, her face pale in the candlelight. The spirit, this thing calling itself Alex, started revealing things. Dark things. It started with Chloe. The planchette glided across the board, spelling out, "Stole from Grandma." Chloe's eyes widened in horror. We all looked at her. Last year, her grandmother's antique locket had gone missing. Chloe had cried for weeks, helping her search the house, feigning innocence. Now, in the suffocating silence of the attic, the truth was laid bare. She had pawned it for concert tickets. Her face crumpled, and silent tears began to stream down her cheeks. The spirit wasn't just guessing, it knew. Then, it turned its attention to Ben. The planchette moved again, faster this time, its plastic feet scratching a frantic rhythm on the cardboard. Crashed Dad's car. Blamed hit and run. Ben let out a choked sob. He told us a parked car had scraped his dad's new sedan in a parking lot. He'd spun a whole story, complete with a fake witness description. The lie had been so convincing, so detailed, that we'd all believed him without question. His father still talked about catching the person who did it. Ben buried his face in his hands, his shoulders shaking. The atmosphere in the room had shifted from spooky fun to a claustrophobic courtroom where we were all on trial. My turn was next. I felt a cold dread creep up my neck as the planchette began to spell my name. My secret was one I had buried so deep I had almost convinced myself it never happened. Saw Liam cheat. Said nothing. My heart stopped. It was true. During our final exams, I had seen Liam pull a cheat sheet from his sleeve. He was on the verge of failing the class, and I was his friend. I told myself it wasn't my business. I kept my mouth shut, and he passed. Seeing the accusation spelled out in front of everyone made me feel sick with shame. I looked at Liam, but he wasn't looking at me. His eyes were fixed on the board, his face a mask of stone. It was his turn. The air crackled with tension. What secret did our fearless leader have? The planchette didn't even hesitate. It moved with a furious, vengeful energy, as if it had been waiting for this moment. It didn't spell a secret. It spelled a question. Where did you leave me? We all stared at the board, then at Liam. His bravado was completely gone, replaced by a raw, primal fear. His face was as white as a sheet. I don't know what you're talking about, he stammered, his voice barely a whisper. The planchette flew across the board to the word yes. Then it began to spell, with agonizing slowness. 15 years ago. The quarry. You remember, Liam. The name. Alex. The number. 15. The quarry. The pieces started clicking into place in my mind, forming a picture I didn't want to see. When we were kids, about 7 or 8 years old, there was a 5th member of our group. A quiet, skinny boy with glasses named Alex. He was always trying to keep up with Liam, always desperate for his approval. We used to play at the old, abandoned quarry at the edge of town, even though our parents told us not to. One day, we were playing a game of tag near the cliff edge. I remembered Liam, always competitive, always pushing things too far. He dared Alex to walk along the very edge. He called him a coward when he hesitated. I remembered Alex, his small face tight with fear, taking hesitant steps onto the crumbling ledge. And then, nothing. My memory was a blur. All I remembered was that one day, Alex was there, and the next, he wasn't. His family moved away suddenly. No one ever talked about him again. We just forgot. No, Liam whispered, his eyes wide with terror. He was shaking his head, tears welling up. It was an accident. It was an accident. The planchette raged under our fingers. You pushed me. Liam let out a strangled cry and ripped his hands away from the board as if he'd been burned. No, I didn't. He slipped. The candles suddenly blew out, plunging us into absolute, suffocating darkness. A blood-curdling scream tore through the silence, but it wasn't from any of us. It was a boy's scream, filled with terror and the sound of falling, and it came from every corner of the room at once. We scrambled in the pitch black, screaming, tripping over each other, desperate to get out. We fumbled for the attic door, our hands clawing at the walls. When we finally found the latch and stumbled down the stairs, back into the safety of the lighted hallway, we didn't stop. We ran. We ran out of the house, out into the street, and we didn't look back. We didn't talk about what happened. We couldn't. The secrets were out, and they had shattered our friendship like glass. We drifted apart after that night, the shared guilt a chasm between us. The joke was over. The spirit we had channeled wasn't a stranger. It was the friend we had wronged and collectively, conveniently, forgotten. And he hadn't forgotten us. Like, share, and subscribe for more terrifying tales.